Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Underhood Show, presented by Mel Hambelton Ford. My name is Phil Nightingale. I'm the general manager here at Mel Hambelton Ford. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning.
It's a beautiful Saturday morning out there. Glad it's not raining or anything. Screw up everybody's holiday weekend and stuff. So hope everybody's having a great and fun, fantastic 4th of July. And, of course, Monday is we will be closed to honor the 4th of July. So hope everybody's going to all of our employees going to have fun and exciting stuff there too. But we're open today, normal hours and everything else too. Of course, we're always closed on Sundays. So everybody have a great 4th of July. Have fun, stay safe, and shoot lots of fireworks.
There you go. Yeah, I cannot believe that it is already July. Like that is
me either.
Absolutely crazy. But here it is.
Here it is. Here we go. Exactly. So, hey, it's a call-in show, 316-462-3673. Hey, anything ailing your car, tires, brakes, batteries, anything in the automobile world, anything you want to talk about MH Ford Racing, anything in the racing world you want to talk about, and each and every call for just calling in the show, you get a great price package as always. And when you call that number, it's coming to our front desk. Tell them you want to get passed into the podcast, and we'll have your question and answers and give you this great price package. As always, Josh, what's in that package?
So we're going to mail it out to you, but it's going to consist of the works, which is an oil change and tire rotation. We use Motorcraft oil and filter products here at Mel Hambelton Ford. While we're performing that, we're also going to complete a multi-point inspection on your vehicle, checking over the brakes, tires, steering, suspension, all the safety-related components. You'll also receive yourself $10 to Mel's Diner, so you can get yourself something to eat and drink while you're with us. Complete nitrogen for your tires, so you get all the great benefits that nitrogen has to offer. And then a BG products package, which is going to consist of a can of MOA or motor oil additive for your engine oil, and CF5 for the fuel system. Again, just getting that vehicle geared up and ready to go for that next 5,000 miles of driving.
All right, let's get the phones ringing, 316-462-3673. And again, anything ailing your car or just want to talk about anything in the automobile world, we'll love to hear from you. Love to answer your questions. And it's the only show I know you get paid to call in on. So let's get them ringing, 316-462-3673. James Furman, good morning as always. Hope you're having a great Saturday. I bet you're working though too, buddy. But happy 4th of July. And James, thanks for joining us. Anyway, Josh, you're right. I can't believe it's July. I can't believe it at all. It's crazy from that part, but it is what it is. So I know our shop's been crazy busy getting everybody ready to have good plans for the 4th. It looks like the weather's going to change up after today, hopefully, and have some nice weather for the next couple of days.
Yeah. It got dry and heat towards next week for sure. And it's definitely between people traveling and just the higher heat. I don't know. Summers always just seem way busier between and looking at my calendar out for July and even June, what June was, and August, guys out for training and vacation, and so we try
crazy what's happening, right?
Yeah, try to get everybody taken care of, and still, if there's a training opportunity, we definitely want to get those guys out to train as well, and so it's just a matter of doing what you can to get everything squared away and taken care of, and people where they need to go and want to go.
Yeah. Morning, Delbert. Thanks for watching and listening. Delbert. God, I can't even spit his name out. Delbert. Hey, buddy. Anyway, Josh, that is true. Our technicians, we talk about that a lot with our situation and stuff. But, training, that is one thing that is crazy amount of time those guys have to do just to stay up on the deal. You've talked about if you're out of the business for 6 months, you're probably left behind. And that is probably true. Different things.
Or, as far as that goes, I've seen guys that chose to stay in the business, but didn't really want to train or, learn anything new. And that's just the same. I mean, it will, you won't be able, to repair a vehicle correctly or make any time if you do. And so it's something that an ongoing process that these guys always have to be on top of for sure. All the advancements in technology and, the Lightning F-150 and communication wise. And these vehicles are becoming so intelligent in the sense of, we can talk about like connected modems and what we have visibility of as a dealer on vehicles that have connected modems. I was talking with a customer the other day, and they were somewhere in northern Kansas, and their check engine light came on.
Yep.
And happened to have a newer model vehicle with a connected modem, and I was able to pull it up by running the VIN through the Oasis side of things and tell him what the check engine light was on for. Now, I didn't know exactly what was wrong with it, but as far as what the code was and everything like that, I was able to tell him what it was.
I had the same similar situation with a customer, broke down at Table Rock, and we knew we had an issue, but at least we knew kind of a general idea what it was. Don't know exactly what it was going to take to fix it, but you know what, Josh? I couldn't get anybody down there at Table Rock to help us, so we had to go down and pick it up and bring it back here to get our customer taken care of that standpoint. But that was so cool to be able to know what was going on with the car, at least giving some idea. I don't ever think these cars will be self-diagnosing. I just don't ever think that's going to happen.
But at least having the information in my particular case, it was just an evaporative code that the thing had, and it's not that's not important, and it doesn't need to be taken care of, but it's not something that's going to leave the customer stranded.
Yeah, exactly.
From that side.
And we got a caller coming in here pretty quick, right, Josh? You got them patched through.
We're
going to get
patched in here.
Get Craig on the phone here in just a second. And James.
Let's go to the phones and let's talk to Craig. Craig, you're on live with Under the Hood. Go ahead.
Yes, I would like to know if leaf springs would cause a loose feeling to the rear end when you leave like a stop sign and stuff. I feel like my rear end is moving around. I had my rear end rebuilt about 2 years ago, but I still feel something.
That's a great point, and there are wear items in leaf springs for sure from that side. So I'm not 100% sure what you're feeling, but it's just every time you leave a stop is when you're noticing it, or?
Yeah, I feel like there's movement of some sort back there, and
are you feeling
I can't figure out what?
Are you feeling like a clunk as you accelerate, or are you after you? When are you feeling that move?
It's right away as soon as I leave the stop light or stop sign. It almost feels like the rear end moves. Is what I swear that's what it feels like.
So you kind of feel it in your seat. You kind of feel it like a little. What kind of vehicle we got?
What kind of vehicle is it?
It's the 2011 F-150 XLT 4-wheel drive.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things that I was wondering about. You said it was a 4-wheel drive?
Yes.
Yeah. So that had a bulletin for actually lubricating the slip yoke in the
where I said it too, yeah.
In the transmission. And I wonder if maybe you're not feeling that thing stick or jerk
as you start to accelerate.
Or as you go to take off. We have replaced. Yeah, go ahead.
They already did that once. They've taken a drive shaft out and filled it full of grease, I guess, is what you're talking about.
There's a special lube that Ford has for those. And when that was done, did the problem go away or
change anything?
It did stop for like maybe 2 days, and then it came back.
Yeah. And we have put leaf springs in vehicles as well. For that, there are kind of some nylon or plastic bushings in between the springs and stuff like that. Typically, movement in the springs, you really feel it or really notice it from that side. But there are cases where, we have put springs in it in vehicles, more so for a noise or an audible noise than actual the feel of movement. But we'll throw a diagnostic onto your package.
Yeah, exactly what I was going to say,
Craig, and take a look at that at no charge to you, and just figure out what's going on. Because if there is something loose, that's definitely a safety concern for sure. So,
well, I think if something loose, you don't want wearing something else, putting some pressure or tension somewhere else on other items, wearing other things out too. So
binding something else up.
And they've rebuilt the rear end in it, and they say that it's within specs and all that stuff, I guess, but it's still there.
Well, we'll get that diagnostic added onto your package. Again, take a look at that thing at no charge to you and figure out just exactly what's going on with it. make sure it's safe and we're not putting any abnormal wear on anything for sure.
Do I have to remind them of that when I come in? Or?
So on the package that we'll send out, it'll have a diagnostic on there, and you'll need to tell them, what it is that you're feeling. And the other thing is, when you come in, I'd go for a ride with you. So if you want to, let me know when you're going to be here, and we'll go for a ride. That way I can feel what you're feeling and make sure that we're on the same page from that side of it. So, all right.
Do I ask for you?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Craig, thanks for the call. We'll get that truck in here and let's see if we can figure out what's going on. And then we can report back on a later show and tell what happened, what fixed that truck.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, Craig.
All right. Got another caller coming in here. Let's get Colin on the line here real quick. And while we're waiting on Colin, Mr. Furman. Yeah, Jake was racing last night and slammed topless. Kind of crazy. No sail panels, no roof. And car looked like a dang old truck.
Really?
Out there is what they look like. But yeah, it was kind of fun, kind of different. I know Salina's done that quite a bit. And last year we missed out on that race. We were racing somewhere else or something like that from that part. But yeah, racing topless was kind of crazy.
Let's go to the phones. Let's talk to Colin. Colin, you're on live with Under the Hood. Go ahead.
Hey guys, I don't know, a long-time listener, by the way, love your show. But I don't know if you can answer this question or not, but I always get commercials or text messages or letters in the mail, cards in the mail about these companies that want to help you with warranty because your car's warranty expired a million years ago, and I didn't know if these things were even really any good.
Yeah, Colin, you have a great topic of discussion there for sure. There are a lot of warranties out there, and through being in the industry for as long as we've had the opportunity to work with a lot of different of those companies. And what I will tell you is extended warranties can be great. For sure. And I do believe, a firm believer in them. But I'm a firm believer in the right one. And there are a lot of bad companies out there, for sure.
Yeah, I don't want to name any in particular, but there are a few that have intrigued me.
Yeah. And in some cases, you see them here today, gone tomorrow type deal, and they just want your money. They want to look for reasons to not pay for something. I've been involved in a lot of different situations where I was really blown away that, okay, well, this one part that is covered that you say that you take care of made this other part break, but then now that part's not covered because it's not one of your covered components. Well, one of your covered components, is what broke it. So why would it not be covered? I've been in situations
same here many times
where you get in there and they say, okay, well, the repair is covered, but the fluid that you need to do the job is not covered. Well, how can you do the repair without the fluid? It's absolutely crazy. Or they want to pay a very, very low hourly rate or a very low markup on the parts side of things, and then they just leave the customer stuck with the other stuff.
Or they'll turn around and pay part of the labor, and you have to pay more of the labor and different things, and they want to pay a certain dollar amount and that sort of thing too. But here's the best thing I can tell you, Colin, is stay away from the ones that are phone calling you, and stay away from the ones that are mailing you from that part. I hear these these ads out there of these different warranties, and man, it's just they try to figure out a way not to pay the claim. And so I just be careful what you're doing there, be careful what you got, and to buy one, because I firmly believe you need one, because it's sometime these cars are going to break. That's why I tell everybody when I purchase a car from me, I promise you one thing, it's going to break at some time. Just don't know when, and you need to be ready to go and be ready to have something to cover you, because these expense of these repairs are crazy. But you got to get one that's going to do a good coverage for you, and you don't want one that's going to cover 50% of the parts or 50% of the labor, or figure out, like Josh said. I remember back, had a
do my research.
Yeah. Well, the best thing is come back and get it from a local dealer that's actually selling warranties. It's got all of us guys out here are selling good quality warranties that back the product and everything else from that part too. So just be careful. Just be careful. If you need some help with it, I'd love to sit down with you and explain what we got and everything else. I'll tell you, it's went to where Lisa and I have went, and we have our own company that we've designed to do this, so we make sure we cover the customer correctly. It's pay the
Right.
claims, all that kind of stuff from that part. There's all kinds of these warranty companies out there that are trying to get your money. That's what they're trying to do, is just get your money and then not figure out a way to cover your car. But just got to be careful, got to be good what you're doing there on that thing. But I still believe everybody needs one, because it's going to break at some point in time. And, you know, it's kind of like the powertrain coverage. Everybody's powertrain right now is very, very good. That's not what you need to buy a warranty for, because that's really what's not breaks. It's all the electronics, all the switches, all the sensors, all the computers, all those electronic, the dash, the modules, all that stuff. That's what breaks. Window motors, window switches, you know, those kinds of things. That's what you're really buying coverage for from that part.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So,
Well, I appreciate it, because I appreciate you letting me know, because again, I keep getting this stuff and wanted to help sorting it out. So thanks for helping me do that.
if you got any more questions, whatever, love to sit down and talk to you too, to go more in depth with it. Love to help you.
I certainly will. Thanks again.
Hey, thank you.
Have a good day, Colin.
You too. Bye-bye.
So anyway, yes, Josh, and we can talk. I can talk hours on extended warranties and coverage. I still remember, you know, when it pops in my head all the time, I sat there and argued with that warranty company. An axle seal went bad. The axle seal was covered. The grease got all over the brake shoes. Well, the brake shoes not covered. I don't care. They're not covered. The axle seal that you're covering damaged the brake shoes. So now the customer has to pay for brake shoes. Yes, they sure do.
That's the reason that we need it.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's just crazy. You know, Craig Spielman comes up here with a warranty that he's had for 2 years, had great luck. Good for you. Good job, Craig. And glad you're having some good luck with your warranty and that sort of thing. But you know, it's just one of those deals. You got to be careful. Got to watch what you do. And, you know, I guess the other thing is you can get an adjuster on the wrong day, and he's going to have a bad day or whatever, and not help you from that part too. But I firmly believe everybody, with as expensive these cars are today, all the modules, all the electronics, all the technology that's in these cars today, you need coverage. You need coverage to protect
and like you said, it's not the powertrain part of the vehicle that's going to fail. Everybody has as long as you maintain the vehicle.
You can't go out and not change the oil and not maintain the engine, transmission. It's not going to live forever. But
the powertrain components on these things will literally go forever if you maintain them and take care of them. And the minute that you don't maintain them or take care of them, or there is a failure on it, what's the first thing the extended warranty company is going to want to know? They're going to want to know what the maintenance records are on it. And, you know, from that side. So, it is all the other add-ons and electrical components and stuff like that. That's really what you need the warranty for.
Yeah. Double up. Phil, can I still qualify for the warranty you guys offer? Yes. That's one thing Lisa and I did too with this warranty. Is it used to be you only could buy a warranty at the time of purchase. I hated that, because, you know, you get through the car and say you bought a 4-year warranty, and now your 4 years is up, but you still love the car. You still want to drive it some more, and you want some coverage. Well, we couldn't offer that to you. Now we can, Double. We can offer you anytime you want to buy one, as long as you're on the mileage and time constraints of what we have set up there. Not a problem to purchase one of those warranties to keep coverage for you from that part. And, you know, who knows? I mean, you might have bought a 4-year warranty and that sort of thing, or maybe your driving habits change and you rent out of miles, or you rent out of time, or whatever it might be, and you still want some coverage. I don't care what the age of the car is, where it's at. You need coverage to cover yourself, unless you just want to take the risk and know when a big repair bill comes, here you go. But
things change. You know, you originally bought the car and we're only going to keep it for a couple of years, and then something changed and you got to keep it for many more years.
Or you're driving 15,000 miles a year, and all of a sudden now you're having to drive 25,000 miles because your job's changed or whatever it might be, or you moved or whatever from that part. And from that part. So, hey, Delbert, I'll tell you what I'll do after Delbert wants to know who he can call to get coverage and cost. We'll get off the show. I'll get one of my finance managers to call you and kind of go over your option stuff. So, Delbert, have your current mileage and which car you want, because I know you got a couple cars and stuff too from that part, and might just have the VIN number easy for them guys to grab up and pull it up. So VIN number, miles, and I'll have one of my guys call you after the show and see what we can do to give you some coverage and look at those again, give you the options. And this is what I tell everybody too when you buy one. It's like I talked earlier a little bit ago, is you want to make sure you buy the correct miles and time. You don't want to buy too much time and not enough miles, or not enough miles and not enough time, or whatever it might be. So kind of figure out, and that's what I do. I go back from the previous car you own, how long you owned it, how many miles you got on, and divide it out. So you know how many miles per month, know how many miles per year, then you're actually physically driving. People don't realize until you actually sit down and calculate how many miles a year you're driving. They don't realize it.
That's one of the things when somebody's always looking for a car or whatever is how many miles do you drive? And you always get kind of that blank stare.
Yeah.
Of when I want to go somewhere, I got to get it and go.
I get it and go. Yeah. So anyway, Dilbert, yeah, we'll give you a call after the show and look at that and give you some options and stuff too. And but yeah, Lisa and I sat down and designed a great program, a great coverage and everything else like that, and not hassle with different things and stuff like that too, going through that warranty program, because you need coverage. I don't care what your make or model car you've got, they're all going to break at some point in time, because every dealership I checked, you know what, they got service departments.
Yep. It doesn't matter how much you spend on the vehicle, it's got a service department.
Yeah, it's going to have to happen. It's going to happen. I promise you. They're a mechanical piece of equipment. They wear, they break, they get damaged. They get all kinds of stuff happen in what we do from that part. So anyway, 316-462-3673. Hey, love to answer your questions, comments, anything at all. Automobile world, racing, anything whatsoever. So
so you raced without a sail panel last night?
Sail panels or roof.
Really?
Yeah, they do it once a year up there at Salina, and then I was really down on it and stuff like that, but it was really pretty cool. I'll tell you why, because you could really see so much more of what the driver's doing in the race cars. They're coming around and that kind of thing and stuff too. I thought it would affect how the car handled and different things, and Jake said it really didn't change it that much.
I was wondering from that perspective if he liked it or not.
But we had a heavy track. It rained up there, and we had a little bit of a delay, and the guys did a great job putting the track back together and get going. We had a great track. It was just heavy. And when you're running that crate motors that we all run, they don't have all that horsepower in the world. I wish I could have had my open motor in last night. If I'd have known that was going on, I had it in there and had more power. But when you have a heavy track, those cars, it takes more oomph to get them going. And we changed the gear twice just to try to
match it a little bit.
Yeah, in the heat race, I mean, a couple of people text me, "Hey, Jake's motor didn't say." Yeah, you're right, it didn't, because we missed the gear big time in the heat race from that part. But we got it pretty well dialed in, and he started 7th and finished 4th. But it was cool to watch that. At first, like I said, I was kind of, what are we doing this for?
Yeah.
Kind of weird. And when I first saw the car without the roof and the sail panels on, I said, man, it looks like a truck.
Just to be different,
Yeah, but it was fun. It was cool and everything else from that part. And I guess Salina's been doing that for several years. I didn't, like I said, last year we missed it. We were racing somewhere else from that part. But it was, after it was all said and done, it was very cool. Very cool from that part. So,
I would wonder about the aerodynamics and stuff like that of the car, but it sounds like he didn't really think that it made a huge difference.
Well, I think the part of it is because, we're not going as fast as some of these other tracks. If we were over at Hutch on the half mile, I think, oh boy, that would have really affected them in the corners and that sort of thing, not having that extra downforce and stuff on them from that part. But again, we pulled in there and I'm thinking, what the heck are we doing this for? But after it's all said and done, it was a lot of fun and everything else too. And of course, you had that rain delay, so we got out there a little late and everything else like that. But they did a good job of hurrying up the races and getting them through and all that kind of stuff too. So a lot of fun. Love to try it again next year, probably.
And no races tonight.
Off tonight, yeah. We got nothing racing around here, anything else like that. So kind of need a little breather. We've been running pretty hard and running these races and stuff too. So everything else too from that part. So a lot of fun. So anyway, Josh, anything exciting happened this?
One of the things that we've typically talked about 2 or 3 times by this time of year, and I don't think we've talked about it at all, is ACs.
Oh, I know. Again, it's back to taking it for granted again, right?
Yeah, looking at the forecast up and coming and how hot it's going to be and stuff like that. It's definitely something that if your AC is not working,
or not quite as good as it should be,
or not quite as good as it should be, and the importance of having the appropriate amount of Freon in that AC system and what that does for your vehicle for the longevity of that system is huge.
Yeah. And it's back in earlier days when we had the R12, the systems would hold 4, sometimes 5 pounds of Freon. So you could have that thing charged a half a pound over, half a pound under, and it'd be okay. It would cool fine and not have an issue. Today, we're running like maybe 1 pound in some of these cars, and you've got to have that thing dialed into very tight of knowing that's exactly a pound. You got to have the right proper equipment to measure that stuff. And you see the commercials on there where they're advertising, put a can of stuff on there and squirt it in your AC. Oh my God, is that terrible?
Yeah. What that's doing for the system, and it may provide a little bit of cool relief right up front, but long term, it's going to be detrimental to the AC system when you inject that in there, and there's air in the line when you're injecting it into the system, and you're just introducing that into the AC system, and with that's moisture.
Well, and that's one thing they can't handle. They can't handle air, and they can, but they're just not good at it, and they can't handle the humidity or condensation or whatever gets in those systems. And when you take one of those cans and screw it on there, guess what you just did?
Exactly what you're doing, for sure.
You just stuffed a bunch of air in there, and you stuffed a bunch of humidity in there, and it just don't work. The systems we have here to properly, I mean, I still say you need to do an AC service once a year, just like servicing your engine or servicing your transmission or whatever it might be. And the best thing is hook the machine up, pull the Freon out of it. Let's see how much is in there. So, if it says a pound, you got a pound in there, guess what? That's perfect.
Yeah.
Pull that thing down and get a vacuum on it. Make sure you got no leaks or whatever, and then charge that thing back up. And this is where the crucial thing is that scale that's measuring that Freon has got to be very, very, very accurate. Even how long the hoses are, knowing that to have the proper amount of Freon in the hose and all that kind of stuff too. It's back to that great quality equipment that we have to do a proper AC service. Charge it back up, put a little oil in there because you need that oil running through that system to lubricate it, and a lot of people forget about that oil.
Definitely the oil, just like engine oil and everything else, that's what makes the system last, and for longevity purposes of everything. So we've run into quite a few vehicles just this last week. I know I got involved with one personally. The customer was complaining about no airflow, and I got in it. I was like, yeah, it's not really that good, and pulled the cabin air filter out. I was going to keep it, but obviously it had not been changed. I don't even know that they knew it was in there. But that is something I wish they would just make a standard.
Me too.
Across every vehicle that had one. But it is hit and miss. It's becoming more and more common for sure that they are in there.
That's another once a year kind of a situation.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you talk about all the dirt and debris that you have here in Kansas and all that stuff.
Think about that breathing, once you're breathing there for a minute.
Yep.
Yeah. So you took the cabin air filter out. It was plugged up tight.
It was pretty nasty, for sure.
I bet money that probably they need to have an AC vent service done on that vehicle too.
Yeah, when we pulled the cabin air filter out and then went through and explained, what it did and what the job of it was, and showed them that, and then also talked about the AC vent service. They were in on all of it, and so got them fixed up. And again, it's just really more about explanation. I don't think people do it intently; they just don't know. From that side of it. And so I go back to the multi-point inspection on vehicles and how valuable those things are. Is that you got to have somebody that's knowledgeable looking over that vehicle and telling you what it needs.
Exactly.
These things, unfortunately, there's not an indicator or a light that comes on that says, "Hey, I need this," or "Hey, I need that." They don't know. You got to have somebody that's knowledgeable that looks it over and makes those recommendations to you.
Yeah. Anyway, hey, Craig's got a good question here pop up. Well, I want to get back to more of that stuff too, a little bit, talk about an AC vent service and why, what, and all that good stuff from that part. But anyway, he's got his Bluetooth buttons on his 2011 F-150 that work intermittently. And of course, when he brings it in a shop, guess what? It's always working from that part. So I don't know if, Josh, is there anything that's particular on a 2011 that you've seen on the steering wheel control buttons that
So we have replaced the buttons themselves. The other side of it is the clock spring is pretty common. So those wires are on what they call a serial bus. So there's not individual paths for each circuit. So in other words, when you hit one of the buttons, it doesn't have its own individual wire that runs power and ground to that to the module from that switch. So there's basically power there, and then each button function has different resistance that it sends back to the switch, and then the module is able to identify it based upon the resistance or the voltage that is being returned to the module. And so a couple of different things there. One could be the switches themselves defective, but then two, all of those run through what they call a clock spring or an SIR coil, which is supplemental inflation restraint coil, but it's a coil of wires that runs through the center of the steering wheel. Well, there's typically like copper arms that contact an outer side of that steering wheel. So as you turn, you don't have wires that are getting bound up inside of the steering wheel. Well, they're just like a set of contacts. They over time get corroded or from use from all the times the steering wheels move back and forth. It's just wear and tear. And so typically you see a lot of times that coil, being the fault, but the switches could be too from there. So,
yep. So anyway, Craig, hope we answered your question. He also wants to know if he's got a cabin air filter in his 11 F-150.
So that is, yes, probably not. There were some that did have them. I think he said it was an XLT, I think, if I remember right.
Yeah. Well, we can run his VIN too and check and see if it's in there too.
I would say most likely not, but there were some of the higher end trucks in 11 that did have them. So, and that's why I really wish that it was just a standard procedure across the board that every vehicle.
The manufacturers, I think, look at it as an expense sometimes and take that out of there instead of from that part. Yes, it is an XLT. Craig, we'll run the VIN on that and kind of see what you got there and stuff too and help you out on that part. So another great question coming here through this chat. And Greg, if you want to jump on the phone here and we can talk about it a little bit too, how much of the job of a service advisor is educating the customer? And I'm going to tell you a bunch.
Yeah.
It is a bunch of time and that they spend to, you're right, educate them. Because here's the thing is, everybody has different driving habits. Everybody has a different vehicle, all that kind of thing. And you need to develop a maintenance plan with that advisor that can advise you on what to do and what steps. And remember, I can't stress this enough, that in the owner's manual, what they say that they recommend, that is minimum you need to do. That's not maximum. That's not the in between. That's the bare minimum you want to do, because all that manufacturer cares about, Josh, with what?
Getting it out of the warranty period.
That's it. And then that baby's yours. So remember that. We need to sit down with your advisors and build you a plan. And if you haven't had one of these multi-points and one of these inspections done for a while, and say the list is long, let's put a plan together. What's most important? And hit it for the next couple of visits, and then stay on top of that maintenance plan. But we need to develop one for you. I mean, if you got a truck and you do a lot of towing, guess what? Your driving habits are different than that guy that just drives a truck down the road. From that part, but we have a great ways of sitting down with you and building the correct maintenance plan to protect your investment. Because that's what these vehicles are today. And for the first time in a long time, guess what these vehicles are doing? They're appreciating.
The value is going
they're
up
appreciating from that part. Never in my 40 years I've seen cars that appreciate, but that's what's happened in the used car market today. It's crazy from that part. So you got to protect your investment and everything else too. So Delbert Chandler Diffie said he was in your Uber vehicle. Tell him hello. Hope MB see him again or something like that too. So from that part. Great chats coming through here. Let's get the phones ringing. 316-462-3673. Number comes right in the front desk. Tell the ladies on the desk you want to get in the podcast show, and we'll patch you through with your question, and you get a great price package about over $130. Who knows? Might be like Craig and get a diagnostic on top of that too.
Yep. Going through the shop, I can always pick out 4 or 5 vehicles that we're doing pretty significant repairs to, that if the consumer hadn't maintained them just a little bit different, it would be a matter of just maintenance instead of repairs all the time. And so I would always, every time, rather have just a little bit of maintenance than I would a repair that now it's broke. I've lost the ability to choose when that was done. The vehicle tells me when it has to have a repair instead of the maintenance side of things.
So this I still remember this story, this commercial long time ago when I was just a little guy. It was a Fram commercial. God, is Fram still around? But anyway, they had a great commercial. Pay me now or pay me later. Meaning, let's maintain it now. You can pay me now or pay me later. But the problem with pay me later,
you're going to pay a lot
more. You're going to pay a lot more from that vehicle and stuff too. And let's go back to pay me now, pay me later. Let's go into proper diagnosis and everything else like that too. Josh, I got involved with a vehicle just yesterday. Customer called me frustrated and didn't just kind of found out about Mel Hambelton Ford and that stuff. I need your help, because they were at work and another work person, hey, you got to go see Mel Hambelton Ford. They'll take care of you. Anyway, another repair shop diagnosed the car, told it was a $2,000 repair. Brought it to us, and come to find out, guess what? It was just a loose connection down by the wheel of a wiring repair. But again, the diagnosis said if this code's here, replace the part. So I understand maybe possibly why they maybe went that way, but they didn't go through the proper diagnosis to go in and dig into that thing and fix it like they need to from that part. So what I'm getting into, where I'm going to go back to back in the 80s when I went to be a tech. And, that's what I wanted to do. I mean, I still today, that's my funnest thing to do, is work on cars and get dirty and have fun. And it was what's so much fun with me in the race car and stuff too. Yeah. But training. So I got frustrated when I was at, because I wasn't getting paid like I thought I should have got paid. So I left and I went to the independent world. And guess what I found out very quickly? No training. Absolutely zero. And if there was something that was there, it was a parts house that was going to come in and say they're going to bring you some training. But really what they were trying to do is sell you their parts.
Sell you the parts
that they were providing, that sort of thing. And so I realized I need to get back into a dealership very quickly to get training. And that's even so much more important today, just to stay up on this stuff too. And let's go back to that car being misdiagnosed. Would have charged that customer $2,000. And some people just pay it and go on. But, she brought it to me. We checked it out, and just simple wiring repair back there, and got her on the road and got her going again. And guess what? No code, no nothing. So it's just crucial. You got to be able to have that proper training, have the proper tools to do that job correctly. So anyway, we need some calls. 316-462-3673. Let's get some phones ringing. Love to hear from you. Love to answer your questions. Anything you want to talk about in your world, tires, brakes, batteries, racing, anything else too from that part. So anyway, Josh, we did a video yesterday on the drag Mustang, the 21 Mustang. We're getting ready to move into another whole, I don't know, call it series, but into the next step into that Mustang. We should have, I don't know all that. I'm out of that drag. You're talking about being out of the world.
Yeah.
What if I can get Nick to call in and explain everything we're going to do to that Mustang, and the next steps that we're going to put in a trans brake and this and that and everything else.
All I know is turn up the boost, right?
Well, we're doing that.
Yeah.
We're running, I guess, I thought we were at 10 pounds of boost when we're out there doing the race the police deal.
Uh-huh.
And we got it into the 7 seconds in the 8th mile, but we're only running 6 or 7 pounds of boost, I guess. So we're going to turn it to 20. But in order to do that, there's a whole bunch of stuff we got to do to it to be able to get it to that part. And did you get that motor on order by chance, Josh?
Not yet.
I'm afraid
we're
going to have to have one.
So the transmission, I think maybe, I don't know. We'll see.
So anyway, stay tuned. If you haven't seen Hunt for Horsepower, that's out on Facebook. I mean, YouTube. We haven't done some videos because we just been so dang crazy busy trying to get the videos going and stuff. And you check that car out. We started with a 21 brand new Mustang, went out and ran it down the quarter, saw what happened, and then showed you, put a set of slicks on. We just kept building from that. Now we've got a turbo on it, and we're guessing we're somewhere around the 800 horsepower. We're going to take it over to BG and put it on the dyno and see where we're at after we get this all done and stuff too. So it'll be interesting to see. Nick Roberts has said he's going to call here in the show and he'll kind of explain what's going to happen with that Mustang and what we're going to do next. And it's in the shop getting ready to go. And of course, we're just trying to put it in between all the other jobs and everything else to get that thing where it needs to go. And that sort of thing. So we'll get Nick Roberts will be calling in here shortly, and he'll kind of go through and update us all on that Mustang. What's the next steps, how we're going to get it there. And then I can't wait to take it over to BG and put it on the dyno, really see how much rear wheel horsepower we do have coming out of that thing. And I think we're going to blow us away. But that's my only point, Josh, is as we're pushing it, we're going to push it to the limit, because I do want to see what's going to break. Let's see what breaks first. Is it motor? Is it training? Whatever. But that's part of what we want to do, to have fun with that, and we'll see what breaks. And then we'll know when it breaks, and we'll figure out how to make it stronger, so we keep going.
So find the next weakest link, I think is what they say, right?
Exactly. So we'll get Nick Roberts. He's our drag race expert there in Mel Hambelton Ford Racing. So if you're in the drag world, need some questions, need anything from that part, Nick's the guy you want to talk to in there in our parts room to help you get your drag car set up or anything from that part. And we'll get him here shortly. Hopefully he's texting me back, said he'd be calling in.
Got a different one.
Yeah, let's go with the phones.
We'll get him.
We'll get Evan on the phone here in a minute. So Nick Roberts, if you're listening and dialing in, hang tight. We'll get you back on here. We're going to get Evan on here first and get his question answered, and then we'll get back over to Nick here. So Evan be patched through here in just a few seconds. See what's on Evan's mind this morning from that part. So anyway, just got a little note, more new cars showing in. That's going to be good.
Yeah. So we have not got the second Lightning yet, right?
Yes, we did.
Oh, did we?
Yes, it's here. It's gone. It was a platinum. Got the phone call.
Yep. Evan, you're live with Under the Hood. Go ahead.
Hey guys, I had a question. I've got an older vehicle. It's a 2004 Pontiac Vibe. Recently, I've had an SRS, airbag, seatbelt light come on, and I wasn't sure what, what might be causing that. I'd gone to like O'Reilly's and ran one of their scanners on it to see if maybe that would tell me. But it didn't really give me any information.
Yeah, and Evan, that's a very touchy one to get a code out of it. And the O'Reillys and the parts stores, I understand what they're trying to do. They've got what they call code readers, and they read you a code, and then they look at the description of the code, and they think that's probably the description tells you what part they need to sell you to fix that problem. Mm-hmm. But on an airbag light, that's a whole different animal to dive into to have the proper. You got to get a scanner and scan the codes, not just read the codes and get this 4-digit code out of there. And then we have a trouble tree that the technician goes down through to diagnose exactly what's going on with that SRS light. And, it could be a simple wiring connection to come loose. It can be a simple buckle that needs to be replaced or from that part. And Josh, I don't know if you.
Yeah. So, I run into one of these the other day. It was on a vehicle, and they were saying that the airbag light was coming on and off on. And actually what I found was there was 4 or 5 water bottles underneath the passenger seat,
mm-hmm.
and they were crimping a connector down there, and it wasn't making a good connection. And so there's a lot of different things that could be the cause from that side, all the way from a weight sensor in one of the seats to one of the buckles. But basically what we need to do is have a scan tool instead of a code reader and figure out exactly what the code is that one has, and go through a diagnostic chart for it. And so if we're calling into the show, we're going to throw that onto your package as well. We'll take a look at that at no charge to you, figure out exactly what's going on with it. But what I will tell you, Evan, is with that light on, whatever the fault is, so if it's a passenger airbag or a driver's airbag or a pre-tensioner of some sort, in a collision, that component would not work like it's supposed to
function, right? Yeah.
And so when you talk airbags, just day-to-day driving, no big deal. But when you need it, guess what? It's not there. So it's pretty important to make sure that light's not on. So we'll get that added onto your package and take a look at that at no charge to you, and just figure out exactly what's going on with it for you. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks, fellas.
Let's get her in here and get her fixed up quick, buddy. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Hey, thanks for the
Have a
call,
nice
buddy.
weekend, guys.
Thank you. All right, let's get Nick Roberts patched through. And the other thing we probably have to tell Nick to do, he's going to have to talk in our language, because he can get going on some of these lingos and things going on and stuff in these cars and everything else too. But we'll get him patched through here a little bit, and we'll talk to him about our 21 drag Mustang. And Josh, you've drove that car, haven't you? Matt, you haven't drove that car?
I don't think. Well, so I took it down to Goddard to a car show or whatever, but at that time it wasn't running.
So we need to have some.
Right
we didn't have it tuned up right.
Nick, you're on live with Under the Hood. Go ahead.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good, buddy. Okay, so Nick, we're talking about the 21 drag Mustang, the next stages we're going to, and what we're going to do to this thing and stuff too. And I was telling Josh before you got on here, now we got to talk on our terms, Nick. You get going some of those terms and stuff like that, and you kind of lose me too, what all we're doing there. But we're going to take this thing basically to 20 pounds of boost, and then you got a whole bunch of different things we have to add to this car. You can't just put 20 pounds of boost and think it's going to go. There's so much going into the drag strip thing. And so can you kind of tell our listeners what's the next step and what we're doing to that Mustang?
So pretty much like any turbo kit that you will buy or build, it's just like just like a supercharger. You know, whatever spring is inside that wastegate is how much boost it can make. Just like the pulley on a supercharger is going to make whatever until you overdrive it. The car now has a 6-pound spring in the wastegate, so it cannot make any more boost than 6 pounds. So once it sees 6 pounds of vacuum to the top of the wastegate, it opens the wastegate, lets extra exhaust out, so it doesn't spool the turbo any harder.
Okay.
So that's been one of our not problems, but that's where we've been limited to power down track, has been because we can only make 6 pounds boost. So we have a AEM True Boost controller that can fool the signal to the top of the wastegates, making it create more boost than the spring is allowing it to do.
Okay, let's back up here. For that, your drag car yourself that you're racing, how much pound of boost are you putting to your car?
47.
Holy
Whoa.
47 versus 6. Now 6 really,
Hold on. Why not 48?
yeah. Why not 50?
My motor still has stock rods and stuff in it too, so it's
Okay,
on the limit.
So 6 pounds of boost, so somebody can kind of understand what 6 pounds really does. So, for example, I can't remember the exact number of horsepower we were putting into that car, but it's in the 400 range from the factory. So what? How much, give or take? I know it's not exact, but how much more power would 6 pounds of boost really give?
Should put us close to the 700 number. I would say it'd be very consistent with like the blower kits that they sell for those S550 cars. They make 6 to 8 pounds of boost, and they will get close to 700 wheel.
Okay, so if we're going to go to 20 pounds of boost, what's your? Of course, you know we're going to run it over to BG, and we're all done and put it on the dyno, so then we'll know. But what's your guess from 6 pounds of boost to 20 pounds of boost is going to take it from to that point?
20 pounds of boost should net a typical 5.0 like that, close to 1,100 to 1,050 in that realm.
In that realm. Okay, so now then what Josh and I were talking about earlier in the show too is what do you think is going to break first if we keep going more? Is it going to be the motor, or do you think it's going to be the transmission? Or heck, it could be the rear end.
Yeah. There's a lot of guys that are having really good luck with the 10R80s, and then there's a few that have had really bad luck. So a lot of it is in the tuning. I mean, those transmissions are completely controlled by the computer. So whoever, tunes their car, if they don't set the shift points right and drop line pressures between the shift, that transmission that was never designed to have 1,000 horsepower is taking a lot of beating between the shifts.
Yeah.
So with the proper tune, like I feel we have with our transmission now, I think it's going to live for quite a while.
So do you think then what's the weakest link do you think we're going to find once we put this thing to 20 pounds of boost? Think it's the rods? You think it's
usually about 1,100 or more? If the cylinder sees any type of detonation, yeah, you'll bend a rod or melt a piston.
Okay, well, we're going to find out. I want to know. So, Josh, get a transmission on order, get a long block on order, because we're going to find out where that weak point is for sure. So, when we go to that 1,100, say 1050 to 1,100 horsepower, we just got it into the 7 seconds in the 8th mile out there with the Beat the Heat feat, which, again, that was a fantastic show. Can't wait to do that again next year. But so what do you think from tops, 790s or whatever that was we turned that night? What's that extra horsepower going to get us to in the 8th?
So the biggest thing that we've been fighting now, because the 1.25 miles, and the last time that I took it out after we did our video, our 8th mile times were knocking on the door of what I would expect to see like a 1090.
Okay.
The biggest problem we've had is, so 2021, Ford changed a bunch of the tuning parameters in that car, and no longer are able to add a trans brake, which would help us leave on more RPM, which would be more boost. So the 2020 models and older, you could turn them on a tune where you like press and hold the cruise control and another button, and it would make the transmission act as a trans brake. So without that, you can't leave on any boost, so you're just leaving pretty much at idle.
Yeah. So do we have a way around that now or not?
Yeah. So Smooth Stage is a company out of Kansas City. Really great company. They make all kinds of different electronic modules for different cars and bump boxes and trans brake modules, but they make one specifically for the 10R80. And we got
10R80. That's
the
the
first
10.
one.
Hey, real quick, the 10R80 is the transmission, so everybody kind of knows, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. 10 speed. So they make a trans brake and bump module that's specific for that transmission. And we got one of the first ones that they had done, because I have talked to the owner quite a bit on Facebook and told him about what the problems we were having and stuff. So he sent us one. And so we will be able to wire that in and be able to target an RPM to leave on. So let's say like 3,500 RPM. We'll be able to press and hold the button, put our foot to the floor. The RPM will hit 3,500 and the car won't move until you let go of the button. So it'll be like a trans brake in a real drag car. So at that, we will be able to target whatever our max boost is on the leave with the boost controller. So if we think the track will hold 8, 10, 12, whatever pounds of boost on the leave, it will get us so much faster to the 60 to the 330.
And you say 330, that's 330 feet?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the turbo car struggle. Like most of the, blower cars are obviously instant boost, but they fall short on the big end. Turbo cars, will make tons of horsepower down track, but sometimes struggle on the front part of the track to make boost.
Okay, so I'm still back to my question. How fast do you think we're going to get it in the 8th from the 790s to with this trans brake and all this other stuff? Think we can get what, low 7s? Or is that even realistic?
We'll be probably 6. So like an 8, I think the car should go into the 8s in the quarter pretty easily. So that would be in the 620, 630 realm.
We're going to jump that much. Okay.
Yeah. Leaving on no boost to leaving on, say 6 or 8 pounds will be, a big difference.
Nick, I want to make sure that you understand that Phil is in here writing all these numbers down. I just want to make sure that you know that. So,
I think even if it doesn't hit there, Nick will figure out some way to keep that thing. Or he's going to come over he's going to sit in front across the desk and say, "Phil, we got to buy this now. We got to buy this now." Of course, you know what that answer is going to be: get it done, because we're going to go from that part. So it's going to be interesting and fun as we keep moving through the hunt for horsepower to see where this car goes. Hopefully sometime next week, Justin and our tech in our shop's been doing most of the work on the car, can get it in. But again, he's got a lot of stuff on his stuff. So on his plate in the shop, how busy we are. So we're going to kind of work it in and stuff. We'll kind of see how Justin does with it and stuff too. But stay tuned for Hunt for Horsepower on YouTube or our Facebook page. Watch what we got and everything else, Nick. And maybe next Saturday you can get on the show with us and tell us kind of where we're at and what we're progressing with the car and everything else too.
Yeah.
Okay, Nick, thanks for calling into the show. We'll keep everybody updated on our Hunt for Horsepower on the 21 Mustang and see how we get done. So, Nick, have a great weekend, and thanks for calling in, buddy.
Yeah, you too. See you guys.
Thanks, man. Okay, we got Richard. Let's see if Richard's been holding long enough. Sorry, Richard. We've got a lot of talk, like Rick Strigero just said. Love the gearhead talk. Keep it coming. You got it, buddy. Love it, too. And, it's a fun time to watch the drag race guys and the dirt track guys and everything else like that. We're all trying to do the same thing.
Go fast.
Go fast.
You have too much money in one pile and you want to go fast in the other.
Well, it's like one guy who just tell me, if you got any money in your bank account, you went fast.
You're not going fast enough.
Okay, we lost Richard. Sorry, Richard. Didn't mean to do that to you, but had a lot of stuff to talk about there on the 21 Mustang. So, Richard, if you can call back, hopefully got his information. We can call him after the show and get him a package sent out anyway for hanging out, trying to hang out with us. And then got there. Greg Murray, for every boy racer with a Mustang GT, what kind of money has to be spent to get there? Well, Greg, that's a wide open question. I can kind of answer that. If you still got money in your bank account, you're not going fast enough from that back. Okay, Richard is back, so let's get Richard patched through.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Sorry about that, buddy. We'll apologize to him in person when he gets on the phone here too. Morning, Jason Cox. How you doing, buddy? So yeah, that is a wild question there, Greg. How much you can, I guess, spend whatever you want to spend and that sort of thing. It kind of.
So every time, you see people all the time bringing in fuel jugs or nitrous bottles and stuff that back to and so every time I see somebody walk by with something like that, I was like, well, let me know when you got it filled up. I'm ready to go for my ride.
Or drive. Let me take that thing for a spin. One of those deals. Hold my beer for a second. So
and you get a big old grin on their face like, yep, it's happening.
Yeah, it sure is. So anyway, let's see if we can get Richard back on the phone here real quick and
send him through here
and stuff too. So Richard was hanging on the line for quite a while. So get to going there quite a bit. So hopefully he get him patched back through here on the show here real quick. See what's on Richard's mind this morning. And they said we're going to try to send him again here is what they just said. So we'll get him here going. So anyway, everybody, it's we're running out of the time on the show. We'll get Richard here on the phone, and then we're probably going to have to hang up. So real quick, while we're waiting on Richard to come through here, let's we haven't talked much about our sponsors help us get through the show each and every week, which is Big Corner Creative for all your advertising needs. Anything you need for your business to help advertise. We started Big Corner Creative way back in like 2008 to help Mel Hambelton Ford advertise and help spend our dollars the correct way. And now Jesse has taken Big Corner Creative in the next level. So we got Richard on the phone.
Yep. Richard, you're live with Under the Hood. Go ahead.
Hey, I went out to the golf tournament at Rolling Hills this weekend, so I wanted to thank your Mel Hambelton for being one of the big sponsors for that. It's a lot of fun being out at that golf tournament.
You're very welcome. It's
Now,
fun things we do out there and stuff like that, and I heard a lot of great things from that show too. So very cool.
well, I'm impressed with your Mustang. Is it top secret, or how much money have you got invested in that? Mate,
Okay, so that's one of those things is that I think every car guy has this deal. There's the money that she knows is in it, and then there's the money that's actually in it. is how that works. So
anyway, have we spent some money? Yeah, Richard, we spent some money. Okay, but on the first versions of the car, we go out and we do just a stock Mustang right out of the gate and run a 1/4 mile drag, and then we go through a set of Hoosiers and a set of weld wheels on it, and show you how much faster it goes, and then we tell you what we spent on the wheels and what we spent on the tires, and then we move into the next thing we did was some a tune, and we show you kind of what we spent on the tune and what that did, and then we went into some of the suspension work. We did a whole bunch of stuff with Steeda. And changed a whole bunch of stuff underneath the front of it and showed what that did. And now we've got the turbo on there, and we kind of got that out there too. And now we're into this next phase of where we're headed. But, it's everybody what phase you want to go into or where you want to go and how fast you want to go with those Mustangs. But, and we're going to spend some more money. I mean, we're going to keep going. I want to get it to the place, Richard, where we figure out what is the weak link. Is it the motor? Is it the training? Is it the rear end? Where's the weak point of that car? I should say weak point. Where's the breaking point of that car? If we're going to put 1,100 horsepower through it and just keep going with that thing from that part. But we have spent some money. I will tell you that.
Well, would you just do me a favor and everybody else a favor? Make sure you invest a lot of money into the best roll cage you can get in that thing. So it's nothing's worth it if you get injured.
Richard, you're exactly correct. And when we get to a certain speed, I don't know what that is legally I shouldn't say legally, when NHRA requires you to have a roll cage. When that does happen, I promise you we will have the best top-notch situation in there. The best. I think we got a pretty good seat in there right now with the Ricardos, with the right seat belts, all that stuff. I promise you we'll have the best top-notch stuff. And you're right. You got to be safe before you can go fast. It's kind of like brakes. You got to have brakes in your car if you take off. But you are exactly correct, Richard, because, could it happen? Yeah, it could happen. You want to make sure you're safe when you get in that accident. I just hope it never happens.
All right, sir. Thank you very much.
No, hey, buddy. Hey, thanks for hanging on with us there for a little bit and everything else too, Richard. Really apologize having you hang on that long.
No problem.
Have a good day, buddy. All right, we got one more call. Let's get Dick on the line here. We'll see what Dick's mind here and stuff too. And so I was finishing up with Big Corner Creative. We get him in here, and Jesse's got a great crew down there from web page design, race car wraps, window wraps, vehicle wraps, window wraps, anything to advertise your business. It's a complete advertising firm that can help you with whatever you need to do your business, or if you just need a web page or whatever you might need. Those guys down there at Jesse's always say, just Google us. Go to rent right here beside Mel Hambelton Ford. Hey, I bought some more vehicles again for Stan because we're trying I can't get any vehicles for the fleet side for Ford because they're keeping everything retail. And let's go to Dick.
Dick, you're on live with Under the Hood. Go ahead.
Hey, thank you, Josh and Phil. Earlier you were talking about the airbag light, and my daughter stopped by yesterday, and I was looking at her car, and her airbag light is on in the dash. I'm like asking her about it, and I guess it didn't used to be on, and it just came on, and you were talking about the safety issue, and so that sort of piqued my interest.
Yeah, that's definitely something Yeah, that's definitely something. If the light's on, now let me rephrase that or start this over again, because every manufacturer goes through a self check when you very first on the airbag system, when you very first start the vehicle up. I think Chevrolet's the airbag light flashes 7 times. Ford, the light stays on consistently until it's done that self check. I know some of the other manufacturers have a light sequence too, but once it's done with that light, with that self check, then it should extinguish and not come on. And if it does not, or if it is on after that self check, then whatever component it is that has indicated a fault or an issue, that part of that system is disabled during that ignition cycle until it redoes the self check and everything's cleared. So if you have an airbag light on, there's something that is not going to function if you were in a collision and needed those components.
Right. So her lights stay on after, like, say, 30 seconds after she starts the car? Is it on?
Yeah, she said it stays on all the time now.
Yeah. So my biggest fear with that is, Dick, is if you are in an accident or whatever, those airbags are not going to deploy or do the right thing to protect her from that part. So we need to put a diagnostic on his page, on his package too, and get that car in here and let's get it diagnosed at no charge. Let you know what's going on with that airbag system and stuff too. Because I'm telling you, if you're in a wreck and that airbag goes off, you're so much more safer and so much better not hurt. And a lot of people say, well, that airbag hurt me. Well, if that airbag hurt you, I hate to tell you how bad you would have been hurt if that airbag wasn't there
Right.
from that part.
Well, that's sort of what piqued my interest was I didn't realize with the light on that indicated the whole system is not functional. So
yeah, so now,
appreciate
so it won't, it does not disable the entire system, just wherever the fault is. But without knowing what that is, it could be anything. And then the other side of that is, the system is advanced enough that, if you're hit in the driver's side, and it's only going to deploy the components that make sense. So there's a bunch of inertia switches all the way throughout that car, and it's only going to deploy whatever those inertia switches are asking for. But again, if you got something that has a fault and it happens to be at the right spot, it could be a bad deal for sure. So we'll get that diagnostic added onto your package as well and take a look at it for you.
All right, then.
All right.
Thank you very much.
No, Dick, thanks for the call, buddy.
Thanks for the call.
Anyway, we was talking about go to rent. We finally got some more vehicles over there for staying because we can't get any fleet vehicles from Ford right now. So I'm having to go out and purchase a few vehicles and stuff too. Delbert Auto says great place to get your rental car. So Stan does a great job over there for that. And then also our last one's BG Products. Hey, all the great preventative maintenance products we use to maintain your cars, keep them going many, many miles. Love the partnership we have with BG Products. And I'm telling you, if you need a fuel additives, whatever it is to keep your car running better, there's not a better product out there than BG Products. I promise you, I've been using them since 1987. I think so when I started using those products and that sort of thing too. So, Josh, everybody, have a great 4th of July. Stay safe. We'll talk to you next Saturday.